Turning now to jobs, Dylan spoke with senior editor of The Atlantic, Richard Florida, during the 30 Million Jobs tour in Miami about how to create not just more jobs, but more quality, high-paying jobs for Americans. Give a listen.
We need 30 million good jobs. And one thing we got to do, you know, we made manufacturing work good work. It was crappy work. And William Blake called them satanic mills. We helped unions organize. We helped workers get a better go. We improved productivity. We got workers involved in innovation. We have 60 million crappy low-wage service jobs, like the people who work in these hotels. We got to make them good jobs. We got to drive those wages up, and we got to create more.
It's part of what he calls his blueprint for a 21st century workforce that focuses on our knowledge economy. Joining us now is Richard Florida, professor from the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto and senior editor for The Atlantic magazine. Welcome, Richard.
Thanks, Matt. It's great to be with you.
So, and our panel is going to be with us to still be asking some questions in a second. One of the things I am really glad that you're focusing on is there's a lot of talk these days about manufacturing jobs coming back to the U.S. and different American-based multinationals are making efforts to relocate or insource some of those jobs. But what people don't focus on, I think, as you're raising, is these jobs are paying $15, $18 an hour without as ample benefits. So these are not your old classic Detroit auto worker middle-class jobs, right?
No, you're absolutely right. You know, we're on track to generate about 350,000 new production jobs. Those are the people who actually make things in manufacturing, not the accountants and the managers, 350,000 of those. And what's kind of tragic is that many of the manufacturing jobs that'll be onshore in the United States are part of this two-tier system where the incumbent workers make a good salary, but the new workers are paid 15, as you said, 16, 17, 18 bucks an hour. That's got to stop. We've got to create better jobs. The other good news, though, is we're going to create 20 million of Dylan's 30 million new jobs. We're going to create 20 million of them out to 2020. But unfortunately, half of those jobs, half of all the jobs we are going to create are in the low-wage, routine service jobs. The people who prepare our foods, who wait on us in hotels, who are janitors, who take care of our aging parents, who provide personal care to us. And one of the things that we've been talking about, and I know you and Dylan care about, is we've got to make those jobs better jobs if we want to have family-supporting good jobs and create a better middle class in America.
Touré's got a question for you, Richard.
Richard, nice to see you again. Do you think that we need a fundamental change in America in what we create and the way that we create the things that we're selling to our citizens in order to create a class of new jobs that will help millions and millions of Americans get back to work?
Well, Trey, it's great to see you, too. You know, I'm on record about this. We used to talk about producers and services. In my work, when I talked about the rise of creativity, and I didn't use the word a knowledge job, I used a creative job. I see every American worker as a creative. I like to talk about creators. You can create manufacturers, good. You can create on a farm. You can create knowledge or technology or create a new company, or you can help create those services. And why I think we've got to make the service jobs more creative jobs. Those jobs are darn hard to outsource. You know, you can outsource manufacturing, you can move it to China, you can even outsource some of the knowledge jobs, but I'll tell you, the fellow or girl who cuts your hair, the person who gives you a manicure or massage, the person who prepares your food, I don't know how. You know, maybe some futurist can invent a robot to do that, but those are called personal services for a reason. We got to make those 60 million jobs, and including the 10 million we're going to create jobs in personal services. We have to make them better jobs, and the way we do that is to go back to thinking of every person as a creative person, every person as a creator.
Hey, Richard, this is Crystal Ball, and also nice to see you again. I was wondering if you could talk about the education component of this. There's been some focus about sort of the changing curriculum in colleges, making sure more kids go to college, focusing on entrepreneurship and creativity there. But what about taking it further back? What sort of changes do you think we need in K-12 to really foster and develop the type of skills to allow kids to be successful in the new economy you're talking about?
Well, that's a great question. I think two things. One, we have to encourage every single person in America to get as much education as they can. The difference, according to the newest statistics, is tens and 20s and 30s and 40s of thousands of dollars for someone who has a master's degree and someone who doesn't complete high school. But we also have to change, and I've written a lot about this and will be writing more, we have to change the way we deliver education. I have a PhD, and I'll tell you, I always hated school. I talk to my nieces and nephews and friends' children children, their kids don't like school because we don't treat kids as creative kids. And it's better now than when we were in school, but we force them into this rote learning model. We make them memorize. Actually, I think we should decentralize the school. We should think of communities and neighborhoods as schools, not as this giant kind of factory for learning we have today. So I think if we're going to build a knowledge economy, if we're going to see all of our people as creative workers, we've got to have an education system to match, and the time to do it is now. We have no more time to waste.
Guy's got a quick question?
Yeah, Richard, it's Guy Benson. It's great to see you. And first of all, let me say I love the Atlantic. My question here is, a lot of what you're saying, in my mind, makes sense. I'm wondering, where does the government come in here, in your view? What's the role of the government? Should they be doing some of this training and education directly? Should they be mandating it or subsidizing it? Should they be getting out of the way? How do you view the U.S. federal government's role in this vision of yours?
Well, one thing I'd like to do is see the president, in a bipartisan way, call a summit on making service jobs good jobs. We can't get around it anymore. You know, manufacturing is going to come back. We're going to create some jobs. That's great. We're going to create 7 or 8 million knowledge jobs. They're good, high-paying jobs. They pay $70 grand a year. But I'd like to see the president now, over the course of this campaign, say, I want every American to have a good job. I'm going to call together a bipartisan summit and commission. How do we upgrade those jobs? And what's interesting is from Zappos, the online shoe company, to REI, the recreational goods retailer, to Starbucks, to Whole Foods, these companies are making service jobs better. There's just not enough of them. So we need a national initiative. We did it 150 years ago with agriculture. We did it 50 years ago in manufacturing. We have to do it again today in services.
Richard, Florida, thanks very much for that. I think if we head down that road, I love the idea of a summit. We're going to have to talk about redistribution because we're going to need to get health care off employers. We're going to need to get a mega version of the earned income tax credit if we're going to get some of these in-person service jobs to actually be more of a path to the middle class. We'll be back to you on that. Thanks for provoking the conversation. And thanks
Absolutely.
as always
Thank
to
you.
our mega panel, Crystal and Guy. And Teray is going to be back for the rant in a minute. You won't want to miss that. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.